podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, January 2nd, 2021. Happy New Year, everybody. This is episode 1758. Enjoy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and, that kind of stuff. Home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Happy New Year to you. 2021. I was thinking back to this day in 2020 and how little we knew what lay ahead. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. How little we knew what lay ahead. What did you do did you do something fun for New Year's? I couldn't, go out and do anything, I guess. But I hope you did something fun with friends. Maybe a giant New Year's Zoom call. This day in 2020, did we have any idea what Zoom was? Few of us. Only those who worked in companies that used Zoom, which wasn't everybody by any means. I don't think Zoom was the dominant, was it? Maybe it was. I don't even remember. In my little company, we used Google Meet, and maybe we used some Zoom. I don't really remember. But by this time, by March of last year, Zoom was all of a sudden not just a widely used software program. It was a verb. I'm going to Zoom you. I'll Zoom you. Zoom me back, baby. Zoom me. We'll all have a Zoom dinner, a Zoom New Year's Eve party, a Zoom Christmas. It's kind of interesting how the world can change so rapidly. Now Zoom is just a verb, like Google, like Kleenex. We did see a number of sad passings in the year 2020. A couple of things ended at the end of the year that, I don't know, maybe you feel a little nostalgic about, maybe not. Flash, end of life. That's the computer term for kick the bucket. And it reached its end of life, EOL, on December 31st. Flash had a checkered history. It wasn't, widely beloved, and yet it was very widely used all over the internet. The first version of Flash, it came out in the early 2000s. It was widely used for interactive web pages. Remember that little monkey that go back and forth on the advertisement? It said, "Punch the monkey to win a prize." Remember that? Flash. Flash. People started embedding it in their emails. There were online games, a lot of solitaire games. Flash is kind of big flash in the pan came in 2005 when a little company founded by a couple of PayPal employees used it as a way to display video on the web. You remember YouTube? Anybody remember you? Yeah, well, YouTube outlived Flash. In fact, YouTube stopped using Flash quite a few years ago. Lots of companies used Flash to make Flash web pages, animated fancy web pages. It wasn't just for video playback or gaming. You could do all sorts of stuff. 3D content, virtual tours. It was only a couple of years later that Steve Jobs and the iPhone came out, and Steve Jobs announced, we're not going to support Flash. Which, when, you're a brand new phone, that's pretty gutsy. I don't need that. Steve had all sorts of reasons. He had some good technical reasons. It was heavy. It took a lot of resources, which were scarce on these little devices when they first came out. It also was buggy. But he also didn't like Adobe for some, just purely political reasons. You don't want to make Steve Jobs mad. He'd hold a grudge. He was a big grudge holder, and he had a big grudge against Adobe. So he wrote an open letter and put it on the front page of Apple, saying we're not gonna support Flash. And of course, when the iPad came out 3 years later, it didn't support it. So YouTube said, what are we going to do? But nobody on an iPhone could see our videos, so they quickly settled on a alternative format that was kind of more web compatible, HTML5 video, sometimes they call it, using a video technology from Google. In 2015, Google announced Google Swifty, which was a program that would convert Flash to the HTML5. 1 year later, Google, in a very googly move, discontinued Swifty. Oh, Lord. Flash really, some people sometimes credit Steve Jobs with killing Flash. Flash killed itself. I mean, it was heavy and buggy and all sorts of security flaws introduced by Flash, and pretty soon better things came along. Flash wasn't really necessary. I get calls. There are still a lot of people who say, well, what am I going to do without Flash? But I would bet most of the sites you use, unless they're long abandoned, don't use Flash anymore. You might be surprised how well you can do without Flash. And for a long time, operating systems haven't included Flash. Browsers stopped including Flash. It's pretty much gone. And I don't think we should say goodbye with anger or hatred. We should say thank you, Flash, for powering the early days of the web. Thank you. Thank you, Flash. But, like every technology, it got replaced. It got replaced by better technologies. There was a game, though, you may remember, that was very, very successful. Came out in 2009 that used Flash. You remember Farmville? Oh, the happy hours I spent laboring to harvest corn in Farmville or whatever it was we were growing, and going to visit our neighbors' cornfields, keeping them tidy while they were on vacation. How many hours of labor did we waste on Farmville? At its peak, 32 million daily users, 85 million players overall. I was one of them. It really helped make Facebook what it was, right? That was the first game on Facebook. And, of course, Farmville. People were still playing it until Friday. Maybe Thursday. I guess it was Thursday when Farmville officially joined Flash in that great cornfield in the sky. Farmville, you could say, perfected what we call dark patterns now. Sneaky psychological maneuvers to get you hooked and buying farm equipment. It wasn't after, I always know this happens to me with every game of that type. At first it's fun and you make friends and you build a cute little farm. Animal Crossing is kind of like that for the pandemic era. And it's real fun. But there's a turning point at some point where it's more work than it is fun, but you still have to do it. It's compulsive work. And that's really the dark pattern at work, the addiction, obsessive, compulsive addiction to farm. If only people were growing real food in Farmville, think of what a world this would be. If only I had learned an instrument at the time hours I spent on Farmville. It wasn't after Farmville, that was a game called We Rule that was kind of a new and improved Farmville. And then The Simpsons tapped out, came along, and there I was in Springfield with all my Simpsons friends doing exactly the same stupid thing. And then now it's Animal Crossing. I'm somehow vulnerable to those games, I guess. was very successful for Zynga. Remember Zynga? That was the company that made it, Zynga. Zynga. They're still around, although they've had their ups and downs. Mark Pincus, still the chairman and co-founder of Zynga and the creator of Farmville. Hi, Mark. Tweeted on New Year's Eve, tomorrow Zynga shuts down Farmville on Facebook after 11 years. I want to share the story of how we created it. He told a story on Twitter, which is the new Farmville, by the way. Do you feel the same way? I think I do. When first I got Twitter, it was all exciting, shiny, and new. Now it's just a compulsion. It's like a slot machine I keep feeding, even though I know there's never going to be a payoff. The real innovation of Farmville, says Mark Pincus, was in making games accessible to busy adults. Oh, really? Was that it? Giving them a place to invest and express themselves and be seen by people in their lives as creative. People thought of Farmville as a sort of Etch-a-Sketch. Mark is in a little bit of denial. He created, have you heard the phrase Skinner box? He created a Skinner box. B.F. Skinner was a behavioral psychologist many years ago who discovered that if you put rats in a box and gave them a lever, that you press the lever, they get a little bit of food. You could train them to do anything, anything to get that food, and that's basically what Farmville was, a Skinner box. It's so funny to read Mark's kind of ode to this game as if it was like this great. It was the first game at scale that leveraged big data, and almost everything inside the game was tested and optimized. Farmville became a training ground for a generation of entrepreneurs and product managers and crap dealers, if you ask me. 20 million daily active users and 2,000 users. Users is a good word for it, isn't it? You're using. I'm not going to miss Farmville. I'm not going to miss Flash. However, I am kind of sad that the things that Farmville and Flash enabled will live on. Those guys, they're gonna keep dealing, and we're gonna keep using. I've just made a promise to myself. When I get to that point where I'm gritting my teeth going, getting up in the morning, oh man, I got to go harvest those crops. If they're not real crops, if there's not actual corn in a bushel basket by the end of the day, then I'm not doing it. As soon as I grit my teeth. We're going to take a break, take your calls. The phone number, 8888 Ask Leo, if you'd like to talk about high tech. 888-827-5536. I am here. I am ready to answer your calls. I'll hold up a newspaper with today's date on it to prove it. I am here. See? I am here. The website where we talk about everything we talk about goes up there. Thanks to James DeRuvo. Our scribe is techguylabs.com. Your calls coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, Kimmy Schaffer, our phone angel, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too.
2021. Got a feeling 21 is going to be a good year.
Or as I saw today, does it disturb anybody that 2021 is pronounced 2021? W-O-N.
One, like another one. Here's another like one.
2021.
I was tuning through the movies, trying to find something to watch. I've watched them all, of course, as we all have. And I saw there is a movie. I don't want to watch it, though. The premise is that COVID got worse and worse and worse. And it's like 2024. Ooh, I'm not going to watch that movie. Who's watching that movie?
I'm not, because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that possibility.
No, I'm going to be on the positive side. It's going to be a great year. It's the sun is going to come out, and it's going to be beautiful.
Fingers definitely crossed.
Yeah. Speaking of beautiful, did you have a wonderful, happy New Year's Eve? Did you do anything?
Well, I think I am now the crazy bird lady of Marin.
You partied with your birds?
No. We've been
you
having
got more murmurations?
Yeah, so we've had murmurations for 2 weeks now, and I seem to be the unofficial tour guide. Anybody that wants to see him is like, oh, can we meet up in the parking lot? So I did meet with 3 friends in the parking lot, and
wow, are you like giving bird tours?
I'm not giving bird tours, but I guess they think that I know stuff, and I really don't know anything.
Well, you on your Instagram, you took a number of pictures of starlings flying in these beautiful patterns.
And the first day I went, probably 5 people. Yesterday, the Northgate Mall's parking lot probably had tens of thousands of cars in it. It was insane. I mean, it's become a full-on
this is just a
parking lot party.
By the way, these birds do this every year.
I've never seen it, but I've never, as I said.
But 2020 never happened before.
Well, no, and I never was probably ever home at 5 p.m. I was in the city. I was commuting. I was up here.
We're just desperate for entertainment. Yeah. That's how desperate we are.
It's pretty. It's
seen everything on Netflix. Go watch the birds wheel around. That's it.
Burke even came down and saw me last night.
Did you have fun, Burke? That's cool. That's nice. Who should I talk to first?
Let's go to Spencer in Lakeview, Oregon.
Let's do it. Hello, Spencer, Lakeview, Oregon. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo. Thank you for taking my call.
Happy New Year.
Listener from way back in the Tech TV days.
Thank you.
But I need some help today.
Yes, sir.
So I had a RAID 10 set up on my computer. I bought a new M.2 drive and installed a fresh copy of Windows. So when I booted, I could choose either the Windows on the M.2 or on the RAID to boot to it. And yesterday I decided to take the RAID 10 out and just use the M.2. And when I booted, it said, no operating system found, and I threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Ooh.
I plugged the RAID.
When you say RAID 10, you mean RAID 1+0 or RAID?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I had three drives. To make the array, but I plugged it back in and I can boot now. But then I see that when Windows installed, it didn't put a system partition or a recovery partition on my M.2 drive. So what I want to do is I see some free things, but I don't trust free. I trust you.
Right.
How can I put the EFI system partition and maybe create a recovery partition on my new M.2 drive?
You want to do is copy the data off of that drive and install Windows from scratch. It's really the best way to do this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You can't just kind of after the fact say, hey, move over. See, the problem with RAID 1+0 is it's both striped and mirrored. The mirroring is good, but the striping means that there's data on 2 different places, right?
Right.
So when you take one of those drives out, it means your data is intact, but the drive geometry is not. That's why you couldn't boot. So what I would suggest doing, the easiest way to do this is copy everything on that. Well, actually, just keep that M. Well, do you want to put another drive in, or do you want to? What do you want to? Do you want to?
No, I'm just going to use
okay. So copy off everything using a good copy tool from the M.2. And then format and install it as a brand new Windows disk. That'll get the master boot record or the EFI on there. That'll get all the boot stuff on there and a good install of Windows. And then you can just, you might even be able just to kind of copy what was on the M2 back onto there, even overwriting what you installed.
Okay.
Makes me a little nervous, because there might be pointers to boot sectors and stuff that you'd reset. So I think the safest thing to do on this, it's interesting. How did you get it to boot again?
Well, I just plugged the RAID back in.
Oh, you restored it. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. I just plugged it back in, and then obviously the boot sectors on the RAID, then pointed to the Windows that's installed on my M.2 drive, and it booted up.
Right. Right.
And
you separated those 2 drives, and so some of the data that you needed to boot was on the drive you took out.
Exactly.
There may be some surgical way. I know that's what you're looking for, to kind of stick the boot stuff into there, inject it, but I wouldn't.
But not so much.
Yeah, well, it's just I think that it might work, and then one day it might not, and just put a new copy of Windows on there. Is there anything special about that Windows install that you're trying to save?
No, not necessarily. I just would have to. No, not necessarily.
Yeah. Easiest to just put it all in there. Windows will go, okay, great. I got it. I'm putting it, and then I don't. Honestly, if you wanted to, you might try copying everything from the M2, including the old install, on top of it. But if there's nothing that you really care about in that install, then just copy your user directory back.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time today, and I appreciate your help.
Yeah, my pleasure. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bye-bye. Here we are in 2021, and we're still wondering, what is hip? Ladies and gentlemen, this is hip. This guy right here, Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek, contributor at techhive.com, and joins us every week to talk about home theater. Happy New Year, Scott.
Happy New Year to you, Leo, and everybody out there.
What is 2021 going to bring us in home theater? You know what I'm excited about? Micro LED.
And you're right to be excited about it.
I can't afford it yet, but I'm excited about it. And then
it's true.
People shouldn't be confused, but there's another technology that Apple's going to start using and others are going to start using in their LCD screens that isn't micro LED, but it's I can't remember the name of it now.
It's mini LED.
That's it. Mini
yes,
LED. So what is the difference?
Very, very easy to get confused.
Yeah.
Micro LED, which you mentioned first,
is
where you have teeny tiny little microscopic LEDs that emit light directly, and that's what you see.
Okay.
That's and the Samsung introduced one in Korea. They introduced it a couple of years ago, but they're actually now taking pre-orders in Korea. A 110-inch screen is $156,000.
So to understand this for people, there are really two kind of ways of making a picture on a screen.
Yep.
There are really three. There's projection, but I'll leave projection out. But
we'll leave projection
movie projector,
out for now,
that kind of thing.
Right.
And then there's some screens, LCD screens chiefly, where there's a white backlight that gets filtered as it's coming out to you.
Right.
And that's the LCD, the little shutters in the LCD. And then there's a technology called OLED where each dot is actually emissive. It's like you're looking.
It emits its own light. Yes.
You're looking at the lights themselves. And so micro LED is like that.
It's like that. Mm-hmm.
It's emissive as opposed to having
as opposed to what's called transmissive.
Okay.
So the light transmits through the LCD panel in an LCD TV, or it emits directly from an OLED or a micro LED. Now, mini LED, all that is just another form of backlight in an LCD TV.
Right.
It's exactly the same as all the LCD TVs that are out there now, with the slight exception that there are more LEDs behind the screen.
Because they're so small.
Because they're tiny. Well, yes, they're mini.
But because it's the same technology as LCD, they're in the same price ballpark. And we're going to start seeing those.
A little more expensive.
A little more expensive. Apple's going to start using those apparently for its iPads and laptops.
And, in fact, LG has already announced, and it's something I can say on the air without fear of reprisal, that their next generation of high-end LCD TVs are also going to use mini LED backlights.
So these will be better because they'll be like FALD, the full array local dimming.
Full array local dimming, yes.
Yeah.
And the big advantage of mini LED is that because there are so many more of them, you have many more zones that can be independently dimmed or brightened behind the picture.
That makes sense.
Which makes for a better picture.
Right.
In the case of and LG, of course, came up with a new name. It's called QNED.
QNED.
Because it's based QNED, yes, QNED.
But don't be fooled. These are all LCD TVs.
Exactly right. Exactly
there's
right.
QLED, there's LCD, there's LED, there's mini LED. Those are all basically different forms of backlighting on an LCD screen. And then there's this new micro LED, which is more like OLED, where it's emissive, the dots themselves.
Correct.
There's no...
Correct.
Now, is there an advantage to one or the other?
Oh, well, micro LED will certainly look better. It'll have better blacks. It will have no artifacts from the fact that if you had a tiny little white star, bright star on a black background like in outer space, no matter how small the zone is that's brightening behind it, you could see a bit of haloing around it.
This is always the problem
with any of that in a...
With LCDs, there's a little leakage. It's not a...
Correct.
It's not perfect.
It's not a perfect system.
Yeah.
But with micro LED and OLED, they are perfect emitters. You don't have that problem. LCD TVs, I've often said, they started out really poor, really bad quality, and then people kept putting Band-Aids on it to make it better and better. And this mini LED is the latest Band-Aid.
Right.
But they still have poor off-axis viewing.
Oh.
You know, if you go off the axis more than 30 or 40 degrees.
Oh, that's not
like
good.
If you're in a big room full of people, it looks terrible.
Oh, that's not good.
Now, LG claims that their QNED, which is based on their nanocell technology, which was their previous version of high-end LCD TVs, has a better viewing angle than most. And it does, but not because of the mini LED or anything like that. It's because they use a particular type of LCD panel.
This is where I'm sad that we're not all going to Las Vegas in a couple of days because we get to see all this stuff. And that's not going to happen, right?
Exactly. No. It's all online, and I've got a bunch of invitations to be online. But dig this, you remember Press Day? Yeah. The one day where all the press conferences happen.
Would have been tomorrow.
It starts this. It would have been tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, no, probably next Monday.
A week from tomorrow. Okay.
A week from, well, it might have been this coming Monday.
Usually press day was Sunday, right? And then, or Saturday.
Oh, no, well, they changed the schedule around. It's the day before the exhibits open.
Right.
But in any event, this year, it's all online, of course, and it starts at 7 a.m. East Coast time.
That's 4 a.m. you and me time.
Yes, so I'm not getting up to go to do that live. The good news is it's going to be online.
It's all online.
Doesn't matter.
They're pretending they're having a conference.
Yes.
But it's just video press releases. Well,
yes.
I presume you could still make appointments and have a Zoom call with somebody from the company and ask them questions.
And I've got several of those already, sure.
So there will be briefings, one-to-one briefings and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The tough thing for your field anyway is you can't go see these screens, and until you see them, you don't know if they're good or not.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly right. I mean, even then at CES, you don't necessarily, because they're all set up to look good on a show floor.
They all look pretty good.
Yeah. They all look pretty good, but it's how they look when they get in your living room.
Do we expect a lot of mini? We saw when I was with you last year this time a lot of the new micro LED, those emissive displays, and they were beautiful. The first one was released this year from Samsung, and if you have $156,000 lying around, you could buy one.
Yes.
I imagine we'll see more of that, but they do look really good.
We probably will.
Yeah. But I understand why
TCL
companies
will probably
are putting more energy into improving LCD technology, because for right now, that's the affordable technology.
Correct. That's exactly right. And mini LED is a good improvement on LCD technology.
That's the question.
I bet you all the companies will have them. All of them.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if they didn't.
Anything else you'll be looking for in your pseudo CES?
Well, LG is going to show a transparent OLED, which is not interesting to me.
Well, wait a minute.
More for restaurants and subways.
Transparent,
and stuff like
you'd see through it? That wouldn't be a good TV set.
No, it's not a good TV. Otherwise, I'm looking for audio technology this year.
Right.
I don't think there's going to be that much, revolutionary in the TV world.
Right.
I don't know if there will be an audio either, but
So it's still the
it'll
case.
It'll be interesting.
If you can afford it and you want the best picture right now, get an OLED.
OLED,
Otherwise, get QLED or QNED or mini LED. And then down the road, in the next 5 or so years, we're going to see micro LED.
Micro LED.
That'll be the next revolution. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I hope I didn't hijack your...
No. That's exactly what I was going to talk about.
Kind of had a feeling it might be. I don't know why. I don't know why.
First show of the year, you know.
I just thought that, CES is around the corner. That'd be a good subject.
Yeah, and I've got meetings. I'm just gonna do it from my office instead of from Vegas.
Yeah.
Which in a way is good. I mean, I do miss seeing people. To me, the other than seeing the TVs in person, the biggest part of CES or any trade show is face-to-face. Yeah. Being face-to-face with people.
It was a highlight of my CES last year. And it always is walking around with you and seeing all the TVs. Mm-hmm. And the TV wall or whatever, the waterfall or whatever they had.
And LG's booth. LG's booth with their entrance to their booth, they always have
like amazing,
170 OLED TVs in these weird, beautiful configurations.
But honestly,
showing.
I wouldn't be comfortable there. I don't know if I'll ever be comfortable there again. I mean,
well, that's the thing. Before they announced it was going to be all online, they sent out a survey to past participants, and they said. Among other things, they asked a bunch of questions, but they said, "Are you planning to be at CES?" And I said, "Absolutely not." And they said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because I don't want to catch COVID."
Right. Duh.
And duh.
The timing's perfect too, as the new, more transmissible form of COVID comes out.
Yeah.
It's kind of the micro LED of COVID. This is a bad time to go anywhere. Just stay home.
Yeah.
The new and improved COVID. Yeah. Mm-hmm. COVID-21.
We had an online New Year's Eve and an online New Year's Day. Some friends of ours do a New Year's Day party every year. We've gone every year. And
I haven't done a Zoom party yet. Is it weird?
It is weird.
Yeah.
It's definitely weird. The New Year's Eve party that we went to, it was on Zoom, but the people set up all kinds of breakout rooms. So you could go if you were interested, and this was a music party. So if you were interested in old timey, you could go into this breakout room, and if you were interested in Balkan music, you could go into this breakout room. There wasn't any music being played because you can't play music while you're disparate, from different locations on the internet because there's too much latency. Right. I've done a lot of research on this, and I can't find any system that lets you play music together from different locations. There's just too much latency on the internet, and you can't get around it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some attempts to do it, but it was mostly just chit-chat. And that was fun. It was fine. It was good to see people. And the advantage is, people from all over the world, essentially, or all over the country mostly, could join in, whereas they wouldn't be able to with a live party because, traveling might not be practical. So, I got to see people I normally don't get to see even at these parties because, they live in Portland or Boston or someplace like that. So there are some advantages, but disadvantages too. The New Year's Day music party, I really missed being in a room with a bunch of people playing music.
Right.
That was sad. We tried to, Joanna and I tried to play a tune. We did. We played a tune for the crowd.
Well, that's nice. You
can
perform each other together. You're lucky you got that.
Yeah, because we're in the same room.
Stick around. It's top of the hour.
You betcha.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's go crazy. More tech talk. It's crazy tech talk. Yeah, it doesn't work. Joey in San Diego. Hello, Joey.
Hey, your favorite guy.
Hey, my favorite. Hey, Joey. What's happening?
That's the way how. Well, Leo.
Yeah.
2021 is going to be a great year.
Yeah, I like that. I like your positivism.
Phenomenal.
All right.
They got rid of Trump.
Well,
they could put all this COVID stuff away.
Maybe we got rid of him. It's still unclear what's going to happen on Wednesday. But anyway, we don't need to go there. That's
Leo.
That's just going to bring me back down, Joey. What else? What else is going on in your life?
AWS for Amazon, Leo. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, sure. What would you like to know?
Well, Leo, here's my question.
Yes, sir.
Just break it all down. I know a lot of companies use it, but do you think there's any practical implication for just like a regular home user?
Yes and no. So many people don't know this. They think of Amazon as like the everything store, right? Where you go get it started with books and now you go get everything. But really, Amazon's best business is called AWS, Amazon Web Services. It's cloud computing. They're the #1 cloud computing company in the world in terms of revenue and volume. It's a multi-billion-dollar business for them. And just as you say, mostly it's used by companies. For instance, we use AWS for our web servers, and there's all sorts of different services. And this is the thing about AWS, it's complicated. So there's all sorts of things you can do if you want to use it for web hosting, things like load balancing, geographic distribution, caching. And we do a lot of that in my company. So that's one thing people do.
Can't you just use it for storage like Dropbox?
That's another thing. There's Amazon has a part of AWS is called S3. S3 stands for Amazon's Simple Storage Service. Oh, yeah, I get it. Three S's. And that is exactly what you said, although it's more complicated than just, say, Dropbox.
Leo, I tried messing with it. I can't figure it out.
It's pretty complicated.
The hell of it, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty and then there's different flavors of S3. For instance, there's Amazon's Glacier, which is something the one thing maybe a lot of you'd have to be fairly technical, Joey, but a lot of home users might be interested in Glacier because it's long-term storage. It's fairly inexpensive, and the reason they call it Glacier is it's easy to back stuff up to it, but it's very slow to get it out. It's kind of like cold storage for your data, and it's because it's so inexpensive. It's very popular. In fact, the truth is a lot of services like Dropbox and others use Amazon's S3 storage as their backend. So that's another common use for S3. There's also, Amazon also offers code engines that let you run your software on AWS. And that's another thing some home users might do. For instance, if you have an Amazon Echo and you want your Echo to have a custom skill, you know about these skills you can add to your Echo? Well, they all run on an Amazon AWS service. I want to call it Lumberyard. I can't remember. Lumberyard is one of their services. I think that's more, though, of a game engine. But they run on an Amazon service that is essentially a computer in the sky that your Echo can use. So if you're writing software for an Amazon Echo, and that's not that hard. I mean, again, this is on the more technical side, but you might well use AWS. There are a lot of end users, home users that use AWS, but it is complicated.
You know what I think would be a great idea, Leo? A phenomenal idea?
Yeah.
Is if you might think it's a horrible idea, and in your opinion is the only one that matters, but if you would do like a seminar or a little show that maybe explains some of this on your
that might be kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, the thing that's I think most interesting is that it's Amazon's best business, and it's a business that Microsoft, Google, Apple, and a lot of others are trying to compete with. But Amazon is completely dominant with AWS.
They knocked it out of the box.
And you know, there's some question about whether it was accidental or if this was part of the plan all along, because they had a lot of computers. They needed them to run the store. And at some point, some bright boy inside of Amazon said, we could probably rent these services out. And AWS was born. There's the Elastic Compute Cloud, which lets users run computers. Amazon even offers now Macintoshes in the cloud that you can run. There's artificial intelligence training hardware up there, TPUs. There's all sorts of stuff that Amazon does that I think people are not aware of. But the thing that's most interesting is how important it is to not only to Amazon as a big part of their revenue, but as to the world. And, maybe we do know a little bit, because if AWS goes down, which it does every once in a while, a lot of websites go down too. A lot of services go down. Amazon owns at least a third of the cloud business. I think in the long run, it'd be great if Google and Microsoft and many others competed strongly against AWS. But for now, computing, storage, networking. I didn't mention databases, but when you have data stored in the cloud, almost always it's stored on AWS. Application services, developer tools, the Internet of Things. It's pretty amazing what Amazon has put together, and it is absolutely a revenue driver for Amazon. It is incredibly profitable, incredibly successful. I think. Let me see. In 2019, it accounted for 12% of Amazon's revenue, and was growing more than 37% a year. To give you some idea of how important that is. Hello, Elizabeth from Rancho Mirage. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy New Year, Leo.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. I'm still in the dark ages, but I have a simple question for you, I think, today.
Okay.
I still with my Dell Inspiron laptop for the time being, but I need an external speaker because I want the ability to go room to room and listen. And the volume, even maxed out, is so low between the laptop itself and whatever I'm listening to. I have to be like a foot away from it. It literally has to be on my lap in order for me to hear it.
Yeah. No, the speakers on laptops aren't very good, and they're not really designed to do that. Do you want just a speaker that you plug into your laptop and it's loud enough that you can go in the other room and still hear it, or do you want to have a separate speaker in each room?
Oh, those are my only choices.
Well, what would you like? You tell me.
What I would like ideally is something wireless, and I thought I could take it room to room.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, too. Sure. There's a lot of good choices. I like the Ultimate Ears, the UE speakers. They're fairly inexpensive. They're Bluetooth, so they're waterproof. They have great sound, and they're portable. You can carry them around. UltimateEars.com. Depending on your budget, I use the Mega Boom. That's $200, but they make less expensive ones as well. And yeah, you carry them around room to room. Should work great. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The only thing to remember is because it's Bluetooth, it only goes about 30 feet.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay.
You'd be a great host on Jeopardy because you're attractive and you're.
I would. You know what?
Personality and smile. I mean, you'd be awesome.
Elizabeth, please. I'll grow a mustache. I'll do it. I would love to host Jeopardy. Oh, man. That's why I think Ken Jennings is going to be fine, but he doesn't have the charisma that Alex Trebek had.
Absolutely. And when you started the show today, you were so, what's the word I want? I was thinking, wow, this guy could be a really great actor. You're so, really, you have, I don't know what I can't put it into words, but your personality comes through vocally. So, and I mean, that's the sign of a great actor, and that's what that position needs. So how do we make that happen?
I'm a little too old. I think they wouldn't start with somebody in his 60s. I think they'd want to go a little bit younger to get, because, how long did Alex do that? 30, 40 years? Forever.
Yeah, so don't you have another 30, 40?
I wish I did. I don't think so, however. But no, you know what? It's so funny you should say that, because that's kind of a secret fantasy of mine. I would love to do that. What a great show that would be. to do.
I've been thinking about you and Kim. I don't know if you remember, I wrote you at Thanksgiving.
Oh, I do remember. Thank you, Elizabeth. I meant to send you a note back. I apologize. I'm a terrible correspondent.
That's okay, but I meant to include, I think I told you in the letter I was going to include, my dad was Auditor General of Michigan, and I wanted to give you some confidence about who I was if I were to send you anything. So I have a copy of my driver's license to
Oh,
send
you don't do that. No, Elizabeth. I know you. You don't have to do that. That's silly.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, I'm okay to do that anyway.
No. I know exactly who you are.
Oh, bless your heart. I didn't get anything done for the holidays, but...
Neither did I.
Well, not one cookie, nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Well, I did make cookies a couple of times. I shouldn't have, but I did.
But see, as I told you in the letter, I used to do that professionally. So for me not to do it, all my friends are going, my family, what?
Where's our cookies, Elizabeth? Where are our cookies?
Well, I'll get on that.
Elizabeth, yeah, go down as low as $100. The Ultimate Ears, they're really nice. They're really easy. They sound good. The Wonder Boom 2 is $99, and I think it'd be perfect for you.
Super, thank you. Anyway, God bless you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye. Sorry, Scott. I didn't want to interrupt her while she was praising me.
You couldn't interrupt that.
All right, all yours, my friend.
Thank you. Speaking of Jeopardy, I've heard it said, and I would love to see this, LeVar Burton.
Oh, perfect. There's a good
host.
choice.
Wouldn't he be perfect?
Perfect.
Personable, friendly,
He's got my vote.
enthusiastic, supportive.
Perfect.
I think Ken Jennings,
No, not enough.
he'll be okay.
He'll be fine, but
not
he's
enough.
not. No. That's a
Yeah, he
show.
doesn't have enough.
You don't need to be somebody who can play Jeopardy to host it.
Right.
You need to be a host.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ken Jennings, I mean, obviously he plays it very well, but, you
No.
need a host.
You need a host. Alex always
I
gave
like-
the impression, though, that he knew the answer better than you did.
Well, because he did. 'Cause
I'm
he read it ahead of time.
sorry. That's not right. You poor fellow.
I read some articles. He he spent a lot of time practicing the pronunciation of some of those
I'm
weird
sure.
words that were in those clues.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think LeVar Burton's a great idea. I love that.
Wouldn't that be
idea.
cool?
Yeah. He's got my vote. Okay.
Cool, man. So, perfect Jeopardy host twisted Mr. Penn Jillette. No, I think not. He's a little too acerbic. He's got a little too much acid in his demeanor. We were talking about online playing in real time, and somebody, I've forgotten who, I'll scroll back and see who it was, Scooter X, said, have I looked into Jam Kazam? And the answer is yes, I have. In fact, I tried to contact them. They're in Austin, Texas, and I never heard back. And at the time, it was either that or Jammer, J-M-M-R, which whenever I say it, I always think of Jammer B. One of them was kind of dormant and didn't have funds and so on. And I can't remember which one it was, Jam Kazam or Jammer. Those were the two that looked the most promising to me. And Jam Kazam has clearly updated their website since the last time I looked at it, which was early March, when I saw this happening and said, how are we going to play music together? Let's see if we can do it online. I'll take another look at it. If there's any way to do it, I certainly want to do it. But it's so difficult. Basically, you need to somehow use a buffer and some delay to compensate for the inevitable latency online. I mean, you cannot change the laws of physics. And it just takes time for signals to get from there to here on the internet. You're limited by the speed of light, if nothing else, but you are also limited by, the signal goes through various computers and gets processed and gets delayed. So the way to make that appear seamless and instantaneous, with Zoom and talking, it's no problem because of, 10, 20, 100 milliseconds of delay is no big deal. But with music, it's a big deal. You can't have that. So, yes, Beatmaster, it's all about the click track. And speaking of which, I have done a number of projects this year where, various people recorded their parts after receiving a file, an audio file of a click track, so that then somebody can then assemble it all together. If anybody watched Tuba Christmas, you saw Tuba Bells Are Ringing. 229 players, including me, all recorded our part to a click track, and then Scott Sutherland edited it all together. And what a huge job that is. Lawn Dog asks, how did Eric Whitaker do his videos? Is that the choral director guy? I think he did Lexi Turna, if I'm thinking of the right guy. That was all pre-recorded and stitched together. That's how you do it these days, I'm afraid. Before I run out of time, I do want to point people, if you're interested in headphones, which I have been getting way into lately, I just posted a review of the Audeze LCD1 planar magnetic headphones, and they're gorgeous. $400, so they ain't cheap, but they're not like the Stelias, which are $3,000. And planar magnetic headphones are very neutral, very transparent. They don't color the sound like many headphones do. So they're great for monitoring mixes and doing professional applications, but they also are great for listening to music. They don't overemphasize the bass, as so many headphones do, or the treble. Very often headphones and home speakers have what we call a smile EQ that emphasizes the bass and the treble, which is very exciting. It's sort of like vivid mode on a TV. But if you really are looking for transparent, accurate reproduction, these headphones, the LCD1 from Audeze, are great.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches. 8888 Ask Leo. I was listening to Scott Wilkinson talk to the chat room earlier, and it made me think about these new headphones that Apple has started selling. These AirPod Pro Max doohickey phones that are $550, which is, too cheap for really good headphones and too expensive for everything else. They're kind of in a gray area for headphones. But my friend Renee Ritchie, who has a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Renee Ritchie, and is an analyst of all these things, came up with an interesting kind of positioning for these headphones. I thought it was kind of informative. We talk all the time about how our smartphone cameras, the camera itself, the lens, the sensor, they're not very good. They can't be. They're thin, they're light, they have to be relatively cheap. Even in a $1,000 phone, you can't put more than a few $100 worth of camera in there, not even that much. So mostly what goes on in our smartphones these days, which do get excellent pictures, is after you take the picture. It's called computational photography. It takes the bits that the lens and the sensor collects and processes it to make an excellent image. And there are lots of tricks that computational photography uses. That's what my friend Renee Ritchie said. You should think of these headphones, these $550 headphones, which I probably will never own, but now I'm kind of intrigued when he puts it this way. These AirPod Max. He says, this is computational audio. He says, assume, and I think it's a safe assumption, most of the audio you listen to, the quality isn't great. They're highly compressed. They're coming in off of a phone. They may be streaming. They may be coming via Bluetooth, which isn't a very fat pipe, so they're even more compressed. You're getting the equivalent of those bad sensor pixels from your camera phone. But the AirPod Max, each of the cups on those headphones, they're over-the-ear headphones, each cup has a processor in it that has 10 cores. It is a supercomputer in each ear. Now, some of those cores are devoted to things like, spatial sound, surround sound decoding, and, saying, are the headphones on? Are they on? Are they off? Is he wearing them? What's going on? Things like that. But there is enough processing power in those headphones to take an imperfect stream of audio and make it better. Nothing can make it perfect for the same reason that professional photographers still spend thousands on professional cameras with professional lenses. Garbage in, garbage out is the phrase they use in computing. So maybe we should change that. Garbage in and, something edible out, but the better the input, the better the output, right? These headphones are not designed to be high-fidelity audio headphones in the same way that a $1,000, or in Scott's case, $3,000 pair of Stellia headphones from Focal would be. Their goal is to take perfect inputs and reproduce them as perfectly as possible. That's not what these are for. These AirPod Max, these $550 Apple headphones, which again, I will never buy and probably never own unless somebody gives them to me, in which case, thank you very much, are designed to take an imperfect input and make it better. It's computational audio. So I think that's kind of interesting. And it actually fits a little bit better how people listen to music these days. It's always been one of the complaints that Scott and I and others have had. Neil Young is famous for this, that people are using terrible headphones with terrible inputs, that these MP3 files are highly overcompressed. They're squashed. So that's the response. That's Apple's response. We know you're not listening to the best quality source material, so we're going to take that and make it sound better. I think that's interesting. And there's a lot they can do these days, an awful lot. Kim is on the line from Temecula, California. Hi, Kim. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo.
Hey.
What a joy to get to talk to you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Kim. Thank you for calling.
Well, thank you for being there so I can ask you some questions.
Gladly.
I heard that on a previous program, I listen on Saturdays, but sometimes with just kind of part of my ear. And you addressed AOL email on a phone.
Yeah.
And in December, I changed my password. And when I went to put it in on my phone, it won't accept it. So any suggestions you might have?
So remember that America Online has been sold a couple of times and is currently owned by Verizon.
Well, my email is Verizon.net from way back when.
Yeah. So you got your AOL through Verizon initially, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's all very confusing because I think Verizon also owns Yahoo now, too. So the whole thing, in other words, Verizon owns a bunch of free email systems that it doesn't really care about.
Right.
I think there's a case to be made that email is important enough these days that it's worth paying for. Now, I know that's going against the trend because pretty much everybody's using a free email system. If it's not AOL or Yahoo or Outlook, it's a Gmail. But honestly, I think when you're not paying for an email system, you're going to get ads in your email. They potentially going to skim through your email looking for information they can use to sell to marketers, that kind of thing. So I understand you don't want to change, and I'm not going to make you change or even suggest you change. Well, I might suggest you change. But, you've had that address for a long time. All your friends know that address. So it's really a hardship to say, hey, can you use a different address? So I understand people don't want to change. That's why nobody does change. There is I'm not sure what happened. AOL, in all of this, by the way, did change their back end and so forth. So you're saying you don't have an AOL.com address. It's a Verizon.net address. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So that makes it even more complicated. So there is a way to recover your Verizon password if you've forgotten it.
No, I changed it on my computer. I think what happened is I signed in at work and didn't know it, so I just changed it and then went to change it on my phone, which I was successful in doing in previous months, or in the summer or whenever I did it before. But it won't take that email now, that password.
The old one or the new one?
The new one.
It doesn't recognize it.
Correct.
Well, you can go through, there is an I forgot process, which you can go through and just start over. In other words, when you go, are you logging into the email through a browser on your phone?
It's like an app, I guess.
Oh, so you have an app. What's the app's name? Is it AOL?
It is.
It's AOL Mail.
AOL.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. So it may be that you... oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right, so Scooter X in the chat room has, and I think this is probably what you heard me say. Here's the quote. Verizon has retired our email service. Customers no longer have the option to keep their Verizon.net email address, or even at this point, extract and move their data to another service provider. If you currently access your Verizon.net email through AOL, access your mail by going to mail.aol.com. So what I would do, and I think this is probably what you did at work, is you were using your browser. On the phone, use the browser, go to mail.aol.com and try logging in there.
Okay. All right. Just forget the app. That sounds good. I have done that in the past in a pinch.
It's annoying.
So,
I know. It's annoying.
No, it's okay.
Are you on an iPhone or an Android phone?
No, it's a Samsung.
Samsung, okay. So that's the other option, is you may be able to set up a standalone, not the AOL app, but a standalone email app, like Samsung has a mail app on there. You may be able to set it up to use mail.aol.com.
Okay.
That's probably the choice.
Just out of curiosity, if I were to pay, which I don't have a lot of money, but I just would love to hear your advice, what email do you recommend to pay for, and how much does it cost?
Boy, I'm not going to say you should. I use a company called Fast Mail. Mail is not expensive. It might be $20 a year at most. It's not expensive. But I like the idea. So fastmail.com is the one I use. They're an Australian company, but there are lots of companies like this. I'm increasingly of the opinion, if mail is important to you, and I would say, I would venture to almost everybody, mail might be one of the two most important things you do on your computer, browsing the net and email. Then it might be worth us thinking, should we be trying to use a free service? However, this little hiccup in the road, which comes from the sale of, all of this is such a mess. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to an AOL help article that is designed for people using Verizon.net email addresses to help them set this up on, say, Samsung's mail, so that you can still use an app on your phone. You just won't use the AOL app. You'll be using Samsung's app.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll put this at techguylabs.com. Thank you. I'm sorry this happened.
Can I ask you one other question?
Sure, Kim.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
You really are my tech guy. My husband died 4 years ago, and he did all the tech. So I'm kind of like, deer in the headlights here. So thank you so much for your help.
Yeah.
I have a Fire Stick that I think we got right before he died. So it was like in 2016. So I keep getting a message that says you can upgrade your first generation Fire Stick. When I go on to IMDb and watch a movie, about halfway through, it comes up and says, check your internet service or settings. and yet the movie is still playing behind it. So it makes me go check.
How annoying!
Settings.
How annoying!
It is really annoying, and I'm just wondering: is this because my Fire Stick is old? Do I need to invest in a new one, which I'd rather not? But
I don't know because I've never watched a movie on IMDb, so I don't know. I didn't even know you could watch movies on IMDb, so I have to check that out.
it's through Prime. It's the
it's the Amazon Prime.
It's Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, it might be that an update would help. Is the update a software update?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was buying another stick.
Well, with Amazon, you never know, do you? The good news is Fire Sticks aren't too expensive. They're among the least expensive. And it's not unusual, especially with version 1.0, yours is fairly old now, that it doesn't work as well as the newer ones do, or that there are features that it doesn't support and things like that. And that may well be it. But I don't want to say it is because I don't want you to go out and buy it and then find the same thing happens. So if it's not a software update, here's what you might try. And Lawn Dog is smart. He's in our chat room. He says, see if you can find the reset function in the settings of your Fire Stick. You'll go through into the settings and it'll be hidden away in help or update or something like that. And you maybe just reset it to see if that helps. Sometimes it's like a fresh start.
Okay.
Okay.
If I did get a new stick, because at some point I suppose I will have to, although I don't know how I'll know when that is, but if I plugged in a new one, would Amazon have
all your settings would be saved? Yeah.
Okay.
The one advantage of getting a Fire Stick, I like Roku a little bit better, but the one advantage of getting a Fire Stick is when you buy it from Amazon, they know it's you, and so they set it up for your account.
Okay, wonderful. Gosh, you answered so many questions for me. Thank you so much.
Kim, I'm glad I could help. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. I wonder why that's happening, the pop-up like that. I bet, a reset might help. That's the kind of thing that it might fix it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Alex, Los Angeles, you're next. Thanks for hanging on. Hi, Alex.
Hi, how are you, Leo?
I'm well.
Quick question, sir. I've had a UR interface. It's a kind of a Steinberg interface for audio. About 4 months ago, it was working with Facebook Live. So I'll get the audio from it and the video from the phone. I know it still works as an iOS-compliant device because it works on GarageBand on the phone or the iPad. But when I use it with Facebook Live, it no longer sees that as an input anymore. Any idea?
Interesting. Huh. So you're watching Facebook Live on a computer?
No. I'm initiating a Facebook Live.
Oh, you're creating one. Oh, you're outputting. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Okay.
No worries.
And so you're did you say Rube Goldberg? Your Rube Goldberg audio system, Facebook's not seeing it as audio input.
Exactly.
Got it.
Other applications like GarageBand definitely do see it, and I'm able to use it.
How is the audio connected into? So you're streaming Facebook Live from a phone or a computer?
From the phone.
Okay. And how do you connect into the phone for your Facebook?
Apple camera kit, USB cable to the interface.
Aha. Might be a camera kit issue. What's the date of the phone? Which model of phone is it?
The previous,
the 11.
The 12.
The 12.
Yeah.
11, okay.
And remember, it was working about 3 months ago, and I called a friend of mine who has a similar setup. And his doesn't work as well anymore.
Oh, interesting. So clearly Facebook changed. Does he use the camera connection kit as the USB in?
Exactly. Setup. So I thought maybe it was the connection. So I bought a new Apple camera kit with the USB power, the one that powers it as well.
Yeah.
That didn't work either.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the Facebook Live requirements. It needs 48 kilohertz, 128 kilobit mono AAC. That shouldn't be too much of a difficult thing for it. I'm going to guess it's the, and Apple does this sometimes, it's the specs on the camera connection kit. So I got to take a break, but hang on for a second. We'll talk off the air. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And did it happen after an iOS update, or you've always used the same hardware, right?
Yes, exactly. And I thought maybe it's an iOS update, so I have an iPad, an older iPad that I can no longer update it to the latest version.
Yeah.
And that didn't work either.
It stopped too. So it was working. So then so I'm trying to figure out if it's a change on Facebook's side or Apple's side. Now I'm starting to think maybe it is on Facebook's
I would think so,
side.
Yeah.
So the camera connector kit basically gives you a USB input into the iPhone, and it's getting the video and the audio that way?
No, the video is from the phone's camera, just the audio.
Oh, just the I get it. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And I know it's not an Apple or an Apple camera kit because remember, it works with other applications on the same phone to record externally.
No, I don't mean it's broken. I just mean they may have changed the format, and that other apps can take a different format, but Facebook is fairly finicky about what it wants for the audio settings.
Yeah. What's bizarre is it was working last time I tried, and all of a sudden, just a few weeks ago, we tried to do a Facebook Live, and then
what goes into the what do you have what is the audio source that you're going into the camera?
Say mixer. So I have a bunch of keyboards.
Okay, it's a mixer
going into the mixer, and the mixer outputs go into the.
And the mixer output is USB. Is it PCM? What is it outputting?
No, just XLR out, audio, analog.
Yeah, but so you're sending once you get to the camera connection kit, it's a bit stream. So
that's right.
You need to send it an AAC encoded bit stream.
No. From the mixer, it goes analog into this audio interface, the standalone separate audio interface that gets connected to the iPhone.
Yeah, so that's your analog to digital converter.
And
and the interface, what's the interface you're using?
Steinberg UR.
Oh, that's when you said Steinberg. I thought you said Rube Goldberg. Okay.
Sorry.
No, I misunderstood Steinberg. All right.
No worries.
And are there settings on the Steinberg that allow you to tell it to output AAC?
No, it's just you can change the sample rate and bit resolution. So I always keep these at 44 and 16.
Try changing it to 48.
Oh, okay. It's not hard to do.
I suspect what's happened is I've had this problem before with Linux outputting 44.1 and our converters wanting 48. I think you want to make sure that the Steinberg is outputting Facebook Live advanced audio settings. It says audio sample rate 48 kilohertz. They don't offer another choice. The audio bit rate 128 kilobit mono AAC. But I don't think you're outputting AAC. So
no, you can't.
It would be a bit stream. I mean, a PCM. Yeah. It's probably PCM. Try 48 would be the only thing I can think of. Setting the Steinberg to 48 instead of 44, or because it does say Facebook does say they want 48 kilohertz. Weirdly enough.
Okay, maybe it's a clock thing then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess. I bet you what happened is that Facebook simply said, yeah, we're going to not support these alternative rates. 48 is broadcast standard. We're just going to support that.
That's what we're going to use from now on. I see.
Yep.
Okay.
Try that anyway. That's my best guess, Alex.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Take care.
All right, man. Take care.
What'd you tell him, John? What'd you say?
I've been nowhere lately, man.
I'm riding in a truck, bound for nowhere, man. Johnny Jet is our traveling guy. JohnnyJet.com/newsletter to subscribe to his free newsletters. He's got a bunch of them. He's on the Instagram and the Twitter at Johnny Jet. He's also, of course, here every week to talk to us. He's got a great podcast at JohnnyJet.com/podcast. You are everywhere. You're everywhere. You're everywhere around the world. The problem is it's just your voice. It's not your body, my friend.
Yeah, it used to be my body. It will be my body. Hopefully, I'm guessing around 6 months. And actually, I got a question from one of your listeners last week in the chat room, or 2 weeks ago, asking, would you book a ticket for July if it's a steal of a deal? And I would say right now is a great time to buy tickets because there's so much flexibility.
Refundable.
Exactly. And your miles are refundable now. Yeah. So, I mean, the airlines for years have been banking on business travelers. So that's why they had all these strict rules, like no Saturday night stay, no one-way tickets. If you're going to change your ticket, it's going to be at least $200 minimum. And they were banking, but there's no business travelers right now, very few. And it's not going, and they're not going to bounce back. Business travel will not be back until people go back to the office, which people are saying at least September. But there's so many great deals right now for leisure travel.
There is some evidence business travel may never come back, or at least will take even longer, because what were we spending all that money for? We could just Zoom.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And I can understand it. Listen, I talked about it before. I would go to New York for a meeting. I've gone to Hawaii for dinner. And it's ridiculous.
Let's go to Hawaii.
And I've had friends who go to Sydney from New York for a meeting and not even spend the night.
Lisa wants to move the whole enterprise to Hawaii. Can we do that just for a few months? We want to all live in Hawaii.
Listen, I've been begging my wife saying, let's move. I want to move to Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, somewhere with a beach.
Singapore.
I did see that on December 23rd, more than 1 million people flew. That was amazing. That blew me away.
It was not only just December 23rd, the whole week leading up to Christmas. Actually, I haven't checked the stats today, but I'm sure they're over 1 million or close to it. They've been almost 1 million every single day or over it for the last 10 days. Excuse me.
Wow.
So, which is pretty big. I mean, still considered to last year, 2019, they were off, except one day I saw that last year, I think it was on Christmas Day, it was like 1.5, and this time was like 1. I'll have to look at the TSA 3.
Yeah, I think it was December 23rd was the peak day. It was an amazing day. This is people who go through the TSA.
Yeah, so actually, yesterday was 805. The day before, 874. December 30th, 1.1. 29th, over 1 million. 28th, over 1 million. The last 3, 4, or 5 days before that was over 1 million.
It's amazing.
So,
amazing.
People are traveling, but it's still way down. Compared to last year, it was 2.3 for yesterday. 2.3 million in 2019, and yesterday was only 805. So travel is still way down, and these are only leisure travelers.
Right.
So that's why you're going to get some good deals, but always read the fine print no matter what you do. But I bought tickets for April back months ago because I was able to buy business class tickets using miles for enough for coach. So I was like, it's a steal. I can get a full refund. I don't think April is going to be in time for me to have a vaccine by then, but if it is, we're gone. If not, we're sticking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my point is travel is definitely the prices are going to go up big time in the next few months once these vaccines roll out, and if they all work as they're supposed to and the numbers go down, COVID numbers go down. So I'm looking forward to it. By the way, here's a quick website for you that, speaking of New Year's, I sent out a newsletter, here are the coolest webcams around the world to ring in the New Year's if you're staying home like I am. And one of them is webcamssydney.com. And it's just a beautiful view of Sydney Harbor. I think I mentioned it once before.
Did they have the fireworks this year over the Sydney Harbor Bridge? Did they do the fireworks?
There sure was. Yeah. But they had a little bit of an outbreak right before. So they, I think, encouraged people to stay home, or they made people stay home. Australia doesn't mess around. They get 3 cases and it's like lockdown almost.
Yeah.
So, but there are still fireworks around the world that were incredible. And those, I think, are one of the best in the world. They're known for it. And that's on my bucket list, to go there on New Year's Eve one time.
I have watched the stream. I mean, I know that's not as good as being there, but wouldn't that be fun? Maybe the 4 of us, actually now you're 4 of us all by yourself. Maybe the 6 of us could meet in Sydney on New Year's Eve in a couple of years. That would be fun.
It would be great.
I'd love to do that.
Australia right now Australians can't even get into Australia because their quarantine is so strict. When you land, you have to go to a government mandated hotel where they're watching you around the clock. You can't leave your room. And now you have to pay for it. Before they would pay for it, but Australians can't even get back there. I think there's 35,000 Australians who are still not able to get home.
That's too bad. That must be
so
hard.
it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
But I got another website for you. This one's called Give Back Box. So one of the things I'm going to do today and tomorrow, since it's been slow around here with not many emails, is this a great way to start cleaning out of your house. So whenever you get a package, let's say from Amazon, instead of just putting that box in the recycle bin, you can fill up like your old clothes or something that is useful for someone else.
That's a good idea.
And you go to this website, you pick a charity, you print the label. It costs $15, and then UPS will come pick it up.
So you're mailing.
And what a great way to
like that.
to give back. I'm gonna send out all my old toiletry bags right now to the LA Mission from the amenity bags from the airlines and toiletries. So each charity tells you what they're looking for. Some are they want bicycles. But most of them want like lightly used clothes and stuff like that.
That sounds great. Yeah, we have the Veterans of America coming on Monday to pick up a bunch of clothes and stuff. This is a good time of the year to kind of, you probably acquired a few things during the holidays or maybe a few pounds. Either way, there may be some things you want to get rid of now.
Definitely.
Yeah,
the latter.
GiveBackBox.com. And by the way, Lego is a partner. If you don't know this yet, you're going to be, in about 10 years, you're going to be buried in Lego bricks. You won't be able to take 5 steps without stepping on a Lego brick. And believe me, you don't want to do that.
It happened to me the other day. I almost screamed.
Already?
It felt like I got shot.
Jack's in a Lego already. That's awesome.
Well, not the little ones, but actually it wasn't a Lego I stepped on. It was something I stepped on that was crazy.
The little ones are coming, but if you go to givebackbox.com/Lego, they're partnering with Lego to recycle your Lego bricks. Man.
So have you heard of this company, by the way?
No, this is news to me. I love it.
Okay. I
love it.
My wife found it, and I looked it up, and it looked great. And I saw some big news organizations wrote about it recently. I was like, this would be a great one to feature.
I remember driving up to Goodwill with a station wagon pretty much filled to the brim with Lego bricks. It was a brightly colored, primary colored explosion of plastic in my back. But the time will come. Now you're in the acquisition mode. But just keep in mind that in about 20 years, you're going to be in the other direction. You're going the other way. What a good idea. Give Back Box. Yo, I know. Lego is a great thing to have. Every kid should grow up with Lego. I love Lego.
When travelers, listen, when I was traveling every week, I would always collect the toiletries from the hotels, and when I got upgraded, the amenity bags, and I have them in a big bag, and I always donate them. But in the last 8 months, I have not gone out really to donate. So now I'm going to do it today. I'm going to print them up.
Good. Great pick of the week from Mr. Johnny Jet. Even if you're not traveling, you still can, do some stuff. Getting ready, we gotta strip down to just the basics, so we're ready to hit the road when the time comes. JohnnyJet.com is his website. You can follow him there. His podcast, JohnnyJet.com/podcast. He also does the 39 Questions show on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter, and he joins us every week. Safe travels, Johnny. Watch out for the Lego down the hall.
Yeah, that's my travels.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Chuck is on the line from Costa Mesa. Hello, Chuck.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome. Thanks for hanging on.
Hi, thank you for taking the call here. So I have a 4 terabyte NAS. It's a Western Digital EX2 Cloud something or other, and it's been a pretty bad experience. The thing times out and falls asleep on me, and then I can't use the software to wake it up. I haven't set it. I get network connection errors, which might not be the NAS's fault. But anyway, it has a USB port on the back. So what I do is I back everything up to my NAS, and then I back up the NAS to a USB drive, a 4 terabyte Western Digital USB drive.
Okay.
So I can have offsite storage. The other problem with the Western Digital is the software that it came with I found out right after I bought it has a 50 megabyte file limit.
Oh, geez.
So
is it MyCloud? Which is it? Their MyCloud NAS or?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. But so anyway, I don't use that software anymore. I tried several different NAS software programs and finally settled on Beyond Compare. And I just sit there and I've gone through and I've powered my way through it laboriously, having to babysit the thing, make sure it doesn't fall asleep. And I've backed up almost everything to my NAS. But what I was wanting to see is there a way to connect a USB drive straight to my Ethernet router? I bought a Linksys router that has a USB port on it, but when I plug in the USB drive there, it wants to use its own goofy user interface, and it's very, very slow. So I thought, so I spent hours trying to find, okay, is there just a way to plug in a USB drive to a router? And
well, there is, but the router has to support it. And of course, in this case, it's the router software is the way it supports it. So it won't just show up. In order for, so a network attached storage, which is what a NAS is, NAS, is a computer. It's got an operating system, it's got a processor, it's got memory, and it's got a lot of drives, What it doesn't have is a keyboard, mouse, or monitor. So you hook it up to your network, and it's controlled over the network from any computer using the browser and the interface. I generally, there's good NASs and there's bad NASs. Essentially, if you have a router with a USB port that supports an external hard drive, it is essentially a NAS. It's using its own software. It's of varying qualities, right? So I think really there's only a couple of ways to go with a NAS. It's expensive to do it right. And you're learning. I mean, there's a false economy where you saved money and you're going to save more money by trying these jerry-rigged solutions, but you don't get what you're looking for. And you're losing hair and sleep and time trying to get this thing working. So if you're fairly technical, you can build your own NAS, just kind of a PC. In fact, you might even have an old PC lying around. And there's an open source operating system that's actually pretty good called FreeNAS, FREENAS. So that's a Linux that's designed to act as a network attached operating system. And that's a less expensive way to do it. You could probably take the drives out of the MyCloud and put them in there, any other drives, and turn it into a RAID. What you want is a RAID array so that those multiple drives appear as a single drive, but they have built-in data redundancy so that if one of the drives fails, you don't lose any data. That's one of the features most NASs offer.
Yeah. I get that. I used to be able to, set up RAID networks and stuff.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of so if you're fairly technical, FreeNAS would be one way to go with just a beige box PC. The other way, and the way I frankly prefer to do it, is there are a couple of companies that make much better NAS systems. The one I use all the time is Synology. It's the one I recommend. They make 2, 3, 5, 12, 32, 58, 175. You can put as many you can get as big a one as you want. But they're pricey because the enclosures are a few $100 and then you have to populate them. But you can mix and match. You don't have to have all the same drive in there. They have a lot of nice features. And the most important thing, which you're discovering, is it's not the enclosure, it's the software. Software is what really matters, the network attached operating system software. And the Linksys won't have great software. You can already know the WD did not have great software. They're not a software company. They're a hard drive company. So go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So about the original question, though, like I said, I've looked for hours to see if there's
well, you might be able to because it's
USB over IP.
Yeah, no, because you need something to act as a layer, because you want to have an SMB share from that thing. You need a computer to act as a layer. You might look at something like getting a Raspberry Pi and interfacing it that way. You can put FreeNAS on a Raspberry Pi, but you need a computer. And if it's the Linksys, you're kind of stuck with their software, unless there are third-party router programs out there. DDWRT is the best known. It's open source. And it may have some NAS capabilities. They were originally designed for Linksys routers, so there's a good chance it'll work with that. So it's dd-wrt.com.
Okay.
I would take a look at that. Then the other one is Tomato, the Tomato firmware. And that also is Linksys firmware that replaces what Linksys offers. I think advancedtomato.com, which is a great name. And they may also have some NAS capabilities. I would guess that if you have the USB port, they will offer that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm more interested in just connecting the USB drive to the network at this point rather than...
Yeah, but you still need I understand, but you need a file share.
Yes. And so I've found several hardware devices out there. It looks like it used to be more popular, but they've all been discontinued.
Oh, yeah, there used to be. So there's another thing you might look at called Nextcloud. This might be overkill, but this is designed to kind of make your own Dropbox with your own hardware and software running on it.
Okay, I'll look into that.
It does a lot of other things as well. But yeah, you need something that's going to act as a file. The bare drive on the network isn't going to do anything, and something needs to be a file server. You need software and hardware to do that.
Right. I looked at also things called USB device servers, but
it's all the same thing.
They look like they've also mostly been discontinued. Yeah. They don't support USB 3. And
it's all roughly the same thing. Look at Nextcloud. That's the open source, most up-to-date kind of software designed to put a hard drive on your network, basically.
Okay. I'll do that. Thanks very much, Leo.
Sure, you're welcome. Yeah. Something, you can't just, hardware is dumb. It's dumb. It doesn't do anything. Hard drives don't do anything by themselves. Computers don't do anything by themselves. They need software. And it's always the software layer that's the annoying part, that doesn't work, that has restrictions, that costs money, So the hardware is not the challenge. That's not the thing that has to be solved, is the software. That's the thing. That's a hard thing to do. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches. Getting your things working right. That's the real job here. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. It's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. If you're outside that area, you can still call. Just use Skype and it shouldn't cost you anything. 8888 Ask Leo, the website where everything we talk about lives on in perpetuity. Is at techguylabs.com. So James DeRuvo, our scribe's writing this all down. He's putting it all up there. And he will, anytime I give a link or anything, he'll paste it in up there. So if you hear something on the show and you want to know more, all of that stuff is at techguylabs.com. And it's free, by the way. There's no sign up. You can stroll right in. Nobody's checking ID at the door. Just stroll on in. There's a search. You can find anything. In fact, all 1,758 shows are there, including, in the last, 10 years, I think, all of the audio and video from those shows. So you can listen back and see what we were talking about in 2004, I think is the first one. Times have changed. I started the Tech Guy Show January 4th, 2004, and the next week I met Scott Wilkinson. The next week I took the show on the road. That was crazy. I mean, it was a brand new show, but our mothership, KFI in Los Angeles, said, go ahead. They let me, the wonderful, late, great John Paoli, engineer, and we did the show from CES. Wow, 17 years ago now. 17 years ago. Lots changed since then. Mostly phones. the big change over the last 17 years has been the advent of the smartphone. We now have in our pockets computers that are 10 times faster than the best computers we could buy 17 years ago. Easily. And the idea that the internet available everywhere. In 2004, the internet existed. We knew about the internet, but the idea that you could get it even as you're walking around downtown or out in a park, that was just kind of a dream. Now it's all happened, and some of it's turned from dream to nightmare. However, it's what we talk about. 8888 Ask Leo, and the record lives on at TechGuyLabs.com. Let's go to Vino. Speaking of Las Vegas, are you happy that all of those hundreds of thousands of geeks will not be descending on you next week, Vino?
Yes, indeed.
I bet it's
yes, indeed.
I bet it's tough for the locals.
Well, locals don't go to the Strip.
That's true. That's true. You stay away from there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I have one question and one suggestion.
Okay.
The question is on VPN.
Yes, sir.
What are the advantages, and is it worth subscribing to one when you are basically at home and sometimes traveling to other countries or something?
That's a really great question, because in the past, VPNs sold themselves as the thing you would use when you're at the coffee shop to protect you from the hacker wearing the hoodie over there in the corner. Because when you're on a public Wi-Fi, what you're doing is kind of floating through the air, and if somebody has sufficient hacking skills, they can, attack you. But nowadays, we don't go to the coffee shops that often. So VPNs, there's three primary reasons you would use a VPN. That's the first one, is for security. When you're using a VPN, it's a virtual private network. Everything that comes out of your computer, whether it's on Ethernet or on Wi-Fi, is encrypted. It's inside an encrypted tube all the way to the VPN server. So nobody in between you and the VPN server can see what you're doing. So the bad guy can't attack your computer. And another reason people use VPNs is for privacy. So your internet service, that coffee shop, they may be paying for that free Wi-Fi by seeing all the sites you go to and inserting ads or selling that information on, that kind of thing. So for privacy and security. The third thing that some people use a VPN is to eliminate your geographic location. So I mentioned that your traffic goes to a VPN server. If that VPN server is in the UK, for instance, and that's where you're emerging, your public IP address is in Britain. So you could watch Netflix Britain, for instance. They wouldn't know that you're not in the US. So that would be another reason to kind of move yourself around geographically. A lot of the reasons people use VPNs these days can be handled by other solutions. So, for instance, most of the traffic now on the internet is encrypted anyway because of HTTPS. That doesn't mean people can't see where you're going, but they just can't see what you're doing. That's encrypted. And that was partly to respond to this coffee shop attack, because there were attacks. People could, hijack your Facebook and stuff. And so Facebook said, all right, well, we're going to make it HTTPS. And you'll notice as you surf around, almost everywhere you go now is HTTPS for secure and has a little closed padlock. So that's improved security immensely. Used to be maybe you would log into your email and that email password would be sent in the clear through the air for the hacker to grab and save. But nowadays, there's no email service I know of that doesn't use HTTPS, so that's hidden. The other privacy thing is handled a little bit and more by browsers using something new called DNS over HTTPS, an encrypted phone book lookup. So anytime you're on the internet, even if you're at home, your internet service provider can see all the sites you go to because you have to look them up through the service provider. I want to go to yahoo.com. Where is that? And the service provider looks it up and says, and can't keep track of that. But nowadays, Firefox, I think Chrome is adding this, Safari is adding it, will allow you to use a third-party DNS server and have an encrypted channel to them. So now the snoops can't figure out where you're going, which is also an improvement. So increasingly, some of the things that we use VPNs for are just being built in to the internet. So it's up to you to decide how important security, privacy, and geographic location is.
Okay, 2 questions. Number 1, when you go incognito on Google to search for something.
That doesn't do anything.
Really?
It doesn't do anything. All that does, Google knows where you're going, your ISP knows where you're going, everybody sees what you're doing. It's not incognito. It just doesn't save a record of your visit. So no cookies are saved, and it's not saved to the history in your browser. Your browser is the only thing that is in the dark. Everybody else knows exactly what you're doing.
But if I go to, let's say, cars.com incognito, does cars.com know my email address?
No, it doesn't anyway. The only thing any website knows is your IP address. And you can't hide that because it wouldn't work. So incognito does not hide that. You go to cars.com and it sees your IP address. Now, if, as many sites do, that site fingerprints you, there's all sorts of stuff it may or may not know, it may or may not share. If, for instance, you've logged into that site and they have your email there, it sees your IP address, it's going to say, "Hey, welcome back, Vino. Good to see you again." So incognito is very poorly named. It doesn't help. Private browsing is not private.
Okay, second question. If I'm in Vietnam or Thailand, I don't really want to go to Netflix, Vietnamese or Thai. Would VPN help me to look
yes.
or see Netflix movies?
Yes. So this is where it's most valuable is if a lot of people do this. You're in another country. A lot of people go to Mexico for the winter, but they want to watch Netflix US. They can use a VPN. Now, it's possible for sites to detect that you're on a VPN. Mostly, I believe it's through the IP address you use. A good VPN will be rotate through IP addresses very rapidly to avoid that. But some sites may say, "Oh, no. You can't come in here through a VPN. We don't know who you are." So sometimes it works. It works with Netflix. BBC's iPlayer. It's a cat and mouse game because they really don't want people who don't live in Britain to see those shows because the people in Britain pay a license fee for it. So they will block VPNs if they can, but it doesn't work with every VPN because it really is based on, is that IP address a known VPN IP address? And if it's not known, they don't know you're on a VPN.
I see. So is there any VPN service provider which you would recommend or which you think?
We have a sponsor that I have recommended for a long time. That's why I took their sponsorship. It's called ExpressVPN. They're very good. I highly recommend them because they do the most important thing, which is they don't keep track of your visit. So, the privacy issue gets kicked. It's just a can that gets kicked down the road. Now your ISP doesn't know where you're going, but guess who does? Your VPN provider. So you choose a VPN provider, very important, that doesn't log your visits, doesn't keep track of you, doesn't save what you were doing when you were online. And I know for a fact, because I've really checked with them, that ExpressVPN is a no-log VPN. A lot of companies claim to be no-log and are not. ExpressVPN gets audited regularly, so we know they are.
Sorry, it's not one of those advertisers which give a 90% discount.
No, I wish I did. I think
Is it very expensive?
It's about $7 a month.
Oh, that's not bad.
You don't want a cheap VPN. For obvious reasons.
I understand.
They're going to make money somehow. You want to make sure that that you're their customer.
You're paying, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my suggestion. Since Apple stores are closed in most cities,
yes,
it'd be a good idea if you sort of give tips on using the iPad, say only 10 minutes or 15 minutes?
We have a whole show. I've got good news for you. My podcast network, we have MacBreak Weekly, which is for Mac fans, and iOS Today, which is just for iPad and iPhone users. If you go to twit.tv, and it's a regular hour and a half a week show. It's a fabulous show, if I do say so myself. iOS Today. And I used to do a show, we just stopped doing it due to lack of interest, I'm sad to say, called Hands on Macintosh, where I was doing weekly Mac tips. But you know what? I do a lot of them here. That's probably good enough.
Holy cow.
Look at this. Oh, my golly. Mr. Little Tiny Fingers. Oh, I spilled my cranes. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
So small.
It's so small. I want to thank Stacy from tinygami.com, because remember she called a few weeks ago, and what do you remember? What was she asking, Kim? I don't remember, but that's right. She had tornado. We didn't get
warnings on her iPhone.
Tornado warning. She didn't come through. She lives in Michigan, so she sent us some gifts. Beautiful origami from tinygami.com. Thank you, Stacy. And I will give, look at this. Look at this. What is that? A turkey on a peanut? What is?
An elephant.
Oh, it's an elephant eating a peanut.
Yeah.
Well, they're so small. I thought it was a turkey, but of course it's an elephant. It's gray. I should have known. And this little box full of peace cranes. I don't know. I feel like, it makes me feel like I'm just some big lunk. They're so delicate and tiny. Thank you, Stacy. Leo Laporte, and I will bring you your card over.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and you can take some origami home with you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's see. Peter on the line from Helsinki, Finland. Hi, Peter.
Hello. Big fan.
Thank you. How are things in Helsinki these days?
Amazing.
Aren't they beautiful? I have only been to Helsinki in the height of summer. I imagine it's a little chillier now.
Yeah, it just snowed. We haven't gotten much snow this year, but
okay.
Yeah, it's that thing which helps with the lack of light.
Yeah, but fortunately you have vodka, so.
That's right.
What can I Peter, are you a Finnish or do you don't sound like you have an accent at all.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, you sound American. So are you living there?
Yeah, I'm just working here.
Working there.
Yep.
Cool. What can I do for you?
Yeah, my question is kind of on topic from what you've been talking about today. I notice so if you have a network attached storage at a remote location, I understand you can use a VPN as a server there.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if you could roll your own VPN and
absolutely. Absolutely. So if you have it doesn't have to be network attached storage. If you can get into another network, if you can say you have a network, say if you have access to the network at work, and of course you'd have to have the cooperation of the IT department and so forth. But let's assume for the purposes of this argument that you are, as I am, I have my own place of employ. If you had a place you could run a server, you could put a VPN server on that. OpenVPN, there's quite a few. IPsec, there's WireGuard now is probably the best choice. It's built into Linux. So you could be running WireGuard server at work, then log into it from home. So you'd have an encrypted channel to work, and then go out into the outside world. Now you control both ends of the VPN server. So you know it's secure, you know it's safe, and you don't have to worry about snooping because, nobody's snooping on you. That's your own server.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. But I was also wondering if,
by the way, when you mention NAS like Synology, most commercial NASs and many routers even have built-in VPN server software. So you probably don't even have to run anything special. If you had a Synology at work, you could just fire up the VPN.
Great.
Yeah. Do you work at a telecom company in Finland?
No, we do contracting with the government.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Tax software.
Oh, all right. Yeah, because Finnish.
Something interesting I've seen here that I don't know if you've seen it other places. When I'm in a rental car, it knows the speed limit.
Oh, I know.
Have you noticed that?
First time I experienced that was more than 20 years ago in Singapore. I was driving in a cab, and this alarm kept going off. I said, "What's that?" He says, "I'm driving too fast." A lot of modern the computers have that. Cars have that capability, but they usually have some form of self-driving capability because you need to know what the speed limit is any particular place. But that's a nice feature. I love that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks for calling from Finland. How nice to know you listen. Do you listen to the podcast most of the time?
Yeah, I love the podcast, and it's too bad that we can't hear Professor Laura's beats.
Oh, yeah, you don't get those on the podcast because we don't. That's expensive. We can't license that. The radio station does. I have to admit, for the first few years of the podcast, I wasn't paying attention, and we were playing those songs.
Oh, geez.
And then I realized, I don't think we're cleared for that. So
are we past the statute of limitations on that?
I hope so. I don't know anything. I know nothing.
Hey, real quick, Leo.
Yeah.
Where is picture-in-picture gone?
On TV sets, you mean?
Yeah, you'd have modern TVs. They can run Netflix natively.
Right.
They can't do picture-in-picture.
Yeah, they don't build in the additional hardware because you need two tuners. But what's really interesting to me is Apple TV and more boxes are starting to put. Apple TV has picture-in-picture. So that's where it has to live, is where the tuner is. In the case, you're right, of a smart TV that has its own software, but then they'd have to have two processes running simultaneously. They'd have to have additional hardware. And so they cut costs. So that's why it's not there.
It sounds like something that Apple would do if Apple actually made a TV.
Yeah, but they do build it into Apple TV. So if you search for Apple TV and PIP, it's not in every circumstance. A lot of tuners now, and I think a lot of set-top boxes are going to have PIP. PIP was on TVs when TVs had multiple tuners, so then you could, watch a football game and stuff. But TVs don't even have tuners anymore. Those are gone. So it's going to be in the set-top box. That's the key. Hey, it's a real pleasure talking to you. How did you call? Because the quality is excellent.
Oh, okay. It's through Google Voice on my PC.
Perfect. Yeah, Google Voice. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's a Google Voice.
That's right.
And you can call an outside number.
I hope they don't decommission it.
No, I know. I hope they don't either. I'm heavily relying on it.
But yeah, my SMS works through Hangouts, but that's going to be going away, so I don't know what's going to happen to that.
Me too. I live on Hangouts for SMS because it's the only fully cross-platform solution for me. So I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I have to get the voice app or something.
Yeah. Go down to Espoo and tell Ericsson and Nokia and all those guys. Espo.
It's funny whenever you say that. It's pronounced Espo.
Oh, thank you. I've been saying, it's got two O's. Espoo.
I know.
Espo. I'll say it right from now on. What else do I say wrong? Anything else?
Linux, I guess.
Linux. My name is Linus Torvalds, and I call Linux. Yeah, but I don't want to make people cuckoo. Helsinki's Helsinki, though. Am I right on that?
That's right. Yeah. The slight difference is you're supposed to emphasize the first syllable. So
Helsinki. All right, Helsinki. I'll say it right from now on. Hey, I'm so glad you listened, Peter. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
Great to talk to you. Thanks.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm dancing. How can you not dance to the music? Thank you, Professor Laura, musical director. I'm sorry Peter didn't get to hear that. Helen on the line from Palos Verde, California. Hello, Helen. Thanks for calling. Hello, Helen.
Yes, hi.
Welcome. What can I do for you?
Well, I have Quicken, and I've used it for several years. I use it for rental property management and managing expenses.
Okay.
And I'm trying to log on to it. I don't log on very often. And it says Quicken Windows has stopped working. A problem caused the program to stop working correctly. Windows will close the program and notify you if a solution is available.
No, nobody's going to notify you. So Quicken, I presume you use this standalone software. When's the last time you upgraded it or paid for it?
I don't know.
Yeah. One of the things I don't like about Quicken is kind of the way they make money is by upgrading it every year. Mm-hmm. And you kind of have to upgrade at some point because of things like this. It's my guess that it's not a coincidence that it's January 2nd, 2021, and all of a sudden Quicken's not running.
This happened about a week
ago. Yeah, I would.
So last year.
I would go to quicken.com and see about upgrading. They have special upgrade prices, obviously.
Well, I've gone to Quicken twice. I've called them, and they have not helped. And I agree with you. I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Can you recommend something else, something better? I need to track expenses.
Yeah. So for business use, and this probably is overkill for you, but we, here at my company, we use QuickBooks.
Okay.
Which is and we use the online version. And the reason is I don't have to worry about keeping the software up to date or anything. They're going to take their yearly fees from you. I bet you, though, that there is a inexpensive starter kit of QuickBooks. It's QuickBooks used to be owned by the same Quicken used to be owned by the same company as QuickBooks. That's why the Quick is in the name. But Intuit sold off Quicken, but they still run QuickBooks. And honestly, QuickBooks is probably the better choice for anybody who's running a business.
Is that what you use there?
Yeah, that's what we use. And my wife, who is our CEO and is a finance person, and so that's, there wasn't even any question that was what we were going to use. There are, as inexpensive as $7.50 a month, which would probably do everything you need to do.
Okay.
The advantage of doing it online is you're going to get better support, and it's going to be updated automatically. You're not going to have to even use Windows. You basically use the browser to do it.
What's that?
You like Edge or Internet Explorer, you're going to use.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an online service, so you're going to use an online site, and by doing that, I think it's probably a better choice for you. I would guess it's a little more powerful. There are, and I hesitate to recommend it, but there are a lot of kind of smaller finance programs that are trying to kind of compete with Quicken, things like Ka-ching.
Okay.
That I'm not going to, I think you need something a little bit more serious. And if you don't mind spending $7 a month on QuickBooks, I think that's the right way to go.
Well, I don't mind. I don't like Quicken already, so I don't mind changing. But
yeah.
I've been looking online, and there's so much to pick
It's
from.
overwhelming.
I can't decide. Yeah.
We have long recommended a program for freelancers, but you want to manage rental properties. I don't think this is probably going to be right for you. This is more for people who are sending invoices and stuff like that.
Okay, it's more tracking expenses that I need to keep track of.
Yeah. So more modern programs like QuickBooks, you'll connect to your bank. It will automatically download credit card statements, bank statements, and all of that stuff. Much less data entry. Of course, less data entry means less likelihood of error.
Well, I don't want to download banks or anything like that. I just want to do this myself.
Okay. Yeah, I think probably I would. Honestly, you could do it in a spreadsheet by hand.
I don't know how.
Yeah. I think, take a look at QuickBooks. I think and I'll tell you what, keep listening. Maybe somebody will call with some suggestions
for something
that's simple to use, just a way to track expenses. But you want to do manual entry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, keep listening. Maybe we can come up with an answer for you, Helen. I'm not sure why. I mean, the quick answer to your question is if you have the original install discs or you can download them from Quicken, is to just reinstall it. It's probably, this happens over time. Hard drives have little errors, little mistakes. And if a program just suddenly stops working, just reinstall it. And that'll almost always fix it for you. But it could well be that Quicken is not as reliable as it should be just because they want that upgrade. They want that upgrade fee. Chris in Lakewood, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, Leo.
Yeah.
I have a question. I have a Samsung J7 phone, and I want to do an upgrade. And there's so many Samsung phones out there. I just want to do a step up from the J7.
Yeah, the J7 was offered. Samsung offers a lot of less expensive, lower-end phones designed to be sold by carriers in their store, almost often given away by carriers in stores. So they're kind of low-end. They're not the best that can be offered. If you have a J7 now and you want to replace it, probably the best thing to do is, I'm sure you got it from your carrier in the first place, is go back to that carrier store, Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile or Sprint or whoever it is that you get it from, and just see what the new J7 is, because they'll have something. These are not super high-end phones. I mean, the Samsung Galaxy S20, I guess it is, no, S21, I think, is just about to come out. But that's their flagship top-of-the-line phone. That's going to be fairly expensive. They've been slowly leaking the information about it, which means that we're probably not too far from the release date. It's rumored to be in the next couple of weeks, January 22nd or 29th, but could even be as soon as the 14th. The S21 would, if it were me, it'd be my recommendation. But if you really need to save money, go to your carrier. Say, look, I'm ready for an upgrade. Almost certainly they'll have a free option for you that's designed to replace that J7 in place. Alan in the chat room says, I will never accept a cell phone that doesn't have a headphone jack. I know how you feel, Alan. I was searching the other day for some way to listen to an audiobook on my headphone jack-less phones, because nothing has a headphone jack anymore. I fear that that's the future, and I'm sure the S21 will not have a headphone jack. That's just I don't know why are they taking them out? Does that save them money? They say it saves them space. Apple says it's courage. There's just some things a phone ought to have, and one is a headphone jack. All right, the Pixel 4a has a headphone jack. By the way, I should mention that because that's an affordable phone, mid-range, a couple of $100 that I really like. The Pixel 4a from Google. Good choice.
Well, the gifts have gotten small.
It's full of little peace cranes. This woman, she called the show, Stacy. She does the world's smallest origami. Her company's Tiny Gami.
God.
Can you believe that? Aren't these beautiful? I would probably break something if, look at that flower.
That is...
I know.
Oh, my, look at the little animals in there.
Yes, little peace cranes. Oh no, there's other stuff. Look, it's a bird.
A bird in flight.
And there's a crane. There's a dragonfly.
Well, I like your watch band.
Oh, isn't that nice?
That is nice.
Yeah, so I'll tell you the story on that one. It's kind of pricey, but Pat and Quill, they said, we found some 100-year-old leather. And we're gonna only make a limited edition. They're all numbered and signed by the artist, but this is 100-year-old leather.
Wow!
And so as a result, it's really soft. It's because I get these leather bands and they're so stiff. You have to break them in, and But this one's like some kid's mitt.
Yeah, that's great.
Did you, when you were a kid, did you have a baseball mitt and you had
I was a zero sports.
Zero sport. So
Yeah.
when my day, when you got a mitt, they weren't broken in. You had to make a pocket. So you rub neat's foot oil into them.
Wouldn't they stand there all day throwing a ball?
Yeah, and then at night you put a ball in there and you tape it up real good because you have to make the pocket. Now they're all pre-made. Yeah. These are the good times. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, with my good time guy, Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer and our gizmo wizard. Hello, Mr. Gizwiz.
Leo, how you doing, pal? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Did you go see the ball drop in Times Square?
No, I watched it drop in my backyard because that's about as far as I went.
What do you hoist something up on a rope and then let it go?
I have a mirrored ball and I take it out in the yard and put a string on it and
that's
do
a great
little
idea.
video and post. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. Well,
exactly.
Happy New Year.
I don't need no crowds. Thank you.
I don't need no crowds. So, let's see here. What's up? You usually join us each week with a gizmo, a gadget, something interesting that you found?
Yeah. Now this won't interest you because you have a big kitchen. So, I have a very small kitchen.
Manhattan kitchens are they're like smaller than your bathroom. They're tiny.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is how small they are. I bought a large roll of paper towels, and then I had to move the coffee maker into the living room. And I thought, you know what? I have a K-cup maker and a coffee brewer.
Yeah.
If I could get two-in-one device,
think how much room you'd save.
I could keep the big roll of paper towels. So I did a little research, and I found something called Flex Brew from Hamilton Beach. That's a 3-in-1.
It does it all.
It does it all. Okay, so on the left side, it does a carafe up to 12 cups of coffee. On the right side, it does K-cups. But then the little thing that they've done I thought was very clever is the K-cup holder pops out, and underneath the little stand that holds your cup, there is a larger plastic insert.
Yeah.
So you can put your own grinds in there and make like 2 cups of coffee. So instead of making the whole big pot or a single K-cup, you can make 2 cups of coffee using your own grind.
And the whole thing is smaller than your old Keurig.
Pretty much. It's about the size of the old Keurig. And it was $99, which I thought was really reasonable.
Do you have to use if you're using your own coffee, though, do you have to jam it into those little cups, like kind of...
You know what? I wish you did. What it is the bigger cup that lets you just make 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any pods in there. So that you have to, that's kind of messy. You have to, run it under the sink. I like the fact that the water level windows are on the sides of the coffee maker, so it's easy to see how much water you put in there.
Nice.
And the only disadvantage of this one over my old Keurig is my old Keurig had a big water reservoir, and if you were making a lot of coffee, you could let the pot heat up ahead of time. And so with the Flex Brew, you pour in the amount of water you want for the K-cup. It heats it and then makes the K-cup.
Oh,
so
you have
it's
to
probably
wait.
like 3.5 minutes. In the morning, I usually I have my head under it. I don't waste time putting it in a cup.
No. Those are the most important 3.5 minutes of your life.
That's very funny. Well, what I do is I make one the night before. So I can just quick heat that in the microwave and then start brewing the fresh stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Dick is a coffee connoisseur, as you can tell. He really. So this is $99. It's Hamilton Beach,
and it's called Flex Brew. It's on Amazon. I'm sure it's in other series too. So Keurig started making a 2-in-1, but it didn't have a programmer on it. To set it at the night to brew coffee. I like this one better.
You can't say, "Hey Echo, brew me some coffee." Now that would be cool. Do they have
Well, I
those?
could, but nothing would happen because I don't have an echo.
You know, if I had a maid, I'd call her Alexa, and then and then I could just say, "Hey Alexa, brew me some coffee," and she would.
Oh, okay.
But I don't, so I can't. So I just have to make my own.
So that whole plan's down the drain.
The whole thing's down the tubes. So, Dick, did you do anything at all besides dropping the ball off the tree?
No. Chad and I did a little New Year's Eve show.
Oh, fun!
And we just hung around here for the holidays. A couple of Zoom calls.
Nice.
I mean, it's really getting terribly boring.
Yeah, it's starting to wear a little, isn't it?
Yes.
If you had told me in March, you can go inside, but you can't come out till sometime in next year, I would have said, what?
Yeah. Today was a big deal. A new drugstore opened, and I said to Dennis, it's within our 10-block range of where we'll go.
Are you only allowed in New York City to go 10 blocks?
No, that is our own.
Oh, that's your limit.
It's from Trader Joe's at 72nd to CVS on 86th Street.
What are you wearing
a
geotag on your collar?
Yes, exactly. And from Broadway
you?
to the river so we can get to the boat.
Gotta get to the river. Yeah. But you walk everywhere, or scooter. Do you still scooter? Yeah. You used to scooter all around.
I scooter a bit, but not so much in the winter.
No. Is the snow gone?
Oh yeah, that was great because we had 13 inches of snow, and then we had like a 55-degree day 3 days later, and it was like in a Hollywood movie. They put the snow down. You liking that? Okay, guys, take it away.
Roll up the snow. Dick DeBartolo, you'll find information about this coffee maker and everything he mentions on the show at his website, which is gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz. Also, a roundup of the products he shows on World News Now every month. There's Mad Magazine memorabilia because...
And a brand new...
Yes?
What the heck is it?
Oh, I forgot. We're in a new month. What was... it looked like it was something with... I don't know. What was it? The last year.
You know, it's a very clever... Only 3 people knew it, but it's a very clever gadget. There's a picture of it in use on my website. It clips onto the side of a pot.
Oh.
And it holds whatever you're stirring with.
Holds the spoon.
Over the pot.
Oh, so good. So it doesn't drip onto the counter.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very clever... a very
the
clever
Trudeau
idea.
Flex pot clip.
And I think it's like $7 or something.
Good, because I keep burning through my wooden spoons because I put them on the edge of the pot and then they
my God,
they get all burned. So that's no good. Very nice. Now we have a new one.
The new one is up top.
Okay, it's some sort of looks like a ashtray liner from a 1962 Dodge Caravan, but I could be wrong. Anyway,
boy, that was close, but I'm not giving any hints.
Okay. Go to gizwiz.biz. You can play the What the Heck Is It contest. There's a big button there that says, What the heck is it? Figure out what this gadget or gizmo is. You're in the running for an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. But don't worry, if you get it wrong, you're still in the running for an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. Dick also does a great podcast. He mentioned it with his friend Chad Johnson. It's called The Gizwiz, and you can find it at gizwiz.tv. If there's one thing about Dick, he's consistent.
Exactly.
All right, Dickie D. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week, I guess.
I'll be here.
All right. Thank you to Professor Laura, our musical director, Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. Most of all, thanks to you for being here. Happy New Year. We're going to have a lot of fun in 2021, I promise you. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, TWiT. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.